to Satish also, my colleague who has joined us, who is going to anchor the session with this session with me. On behalf of Sama Audit, I welcome both of you, in fact, and also especially Mukundan ji for this Chief Auditor series. Satish and I have embarked on this journey to talk to chief auditors across the country and even abroad to understand the best practices or good practices and to bring out these good practices for the benefit of the profession, for the students and for the internal audit fraternity. It has been a great series so far, and going forward also it is going to add a lot of value. We know that because we are talking to chief auditors who are doing so much. Each chief auditor is doing so much things which are normal, in the usual course, but at the same time there are things which are different from others, and that is what we want to capture, which will be beneficial to the internal audit function as a whole.
So actually, when we started this, we thought that this will be a repertoire for students, for the future generation. But as we have moved along, we have found that, Dibji and I have realized that there is so much that we ourselves have learned, not that we know it all, but there is so much, and there is such a different way in which people do things. It's not funny. I mean, it's really a humbling experience. So look forward to this session, Mukundan, and having a personality like you, friend, philosopher, I don't know, guide, so many roles into one. We know each other for so many years. I think the three of us know each other for so many years. Always a pleasure to spend time with you, Mukundan.
No, thanks a lot, Mukundan ji. Really a very warm, wonderful personality. I have to formally introduce him, and I think I take pleasure, Satish, in doing this session, this particular session, because I was associated with the Allcargo group for 7-8 years prior to Mukundan ji becoming the chief auditor there. So it is bringing me back memories of all the operations which happen in the company. Logistics company, a lot of operations which are happening. Of course, it's a multinational, transnational, Indian transnational company today, with a lot of work being done by Mukundan ji. So again, sweet memories. But I'll formally introduce Mukundan ji to everyone. Mukundan ji is the Chief Assurance and Risk Executive, currently with Allcargo Logistics since 2010. More than 3 decades of versatile experience in manufacturing, consulting with Big Four and service industries. He's a chartered accountant, rank holder, CPA, CISA, and a CIA. He was honored as Chief Minister's Fellow by the Government of Madhya Pradesh for innovative suggestions in the field of accounting in the year 2002. He is a secretary of IIA Mumbai chapter, member of Governing Council of RM Next, an informal forum of risk professionals, a member of ASSOCHAM, National Council of Internal Audit and Risk Management. Previously, he has held positions as managing committee member of ISACA chapter of Delhi and Mumbai, treasurer, secretary, and chairman of ICAI Bhopal branch. His current responsibilities include overseeing the assurance and risk functions for the Allcargo Group, mainly Allcargo Logistics Ltd, EQ Worldwide, and Gati Limited, and other joint ventures and subsidiaries. He additionally performs the role of whistleblower officer for the group. So I think a lot of onerous responsibilities, and he is one chief auditor who is overseeing operations for an Indian multinational. So I think that's different so far. So far, we did not have any chief auditor who's heading the internal audit function as an Indian multinational spread across the world. So over to you, Mukundan.
Thank you very much. I am very much delighted to be part of this series. Thank you very much, Deepji and Satish. Both of you are my good friends, and definitely the contribution what you do for the development of profession, by sharing these details with the people. Definitely I have seen the multiple series what so far you have published, and it is always a great learning experience, in spite of the fact that, as Satish talked about, all of us have spent enough time. At the same time, definitely there are new developments happening across the industry, across the profession, and this is an opportunity for us to learn. And so it is a great privilege and a pleasure to talk to each one of you. And also, when you are these videos are seen by the multiple peoples, it may be students, it may be our peer group, it may be budding internal auditors, each one of them, it is always a great pleasure, to be part of this series.
Thank you.
So, I will share my screen, and then, I will take it, say it's a small presentations, and then we will conclude within 15-20 minutes, and then we will come to your question and answer sessions, and then, feel free to ask our questions. So this is a center of excellence. That is what we call it in our entire group. So this is, and the name of our department is CARE. CARE stands for the Chief Assurance and Risk Executive. Right from the beginning, the coin name is CARE. So that is, we care for the business. And our vision for the entire group is manage the risk in line with Allcargo Group's objectives, core activities and values, enhance corporate governance, and manage stakeholder expectations on a sustainable basis. This is what is the vision of our department. This is something, I did not see this in any of the series so far. And all of us are part of this session, and many other chief audit executives talked about it. So again, this is a contribution, Satish, Deepji, and Deepji's partner Manish, and all of us have written, at least one chapter, and because Deepji started this exercise long ago, and we are continuing that, the sharing of experiences with, and we are all part of his journey. That is where, when he is sharing these experiences, if we take many other chief audit executives also along with them, that is something very, very, it is a happy news to be shared with everyone. And this should be also seen by our budding internal auditors and other people. And I will request even Deepji that, you should come with an updated publication on this, because now there are many new chartered accountants have come as chief audit executives, and they all can contribute. There may be something, this only just, my thinking, but in the interest of time, I am moving forward fast.
Sure.
So this just for the benefit of everyone who do not know what is Allcargo. Allcargo as a group, as Deepji introduced, it is an Indian multinational headquartered in Mumbai in India, and it is promoted by Mr. Shashikiran Shetty, an Indian first generation entrepreneur who started as a small proprietorship. Rather, he is like, he after completing his education, he came from Mangalore, and on his name also there is a book published. Okay, it is an Australian author. He is talking about the budding entrepreneurs. He has written a book, and it includes multiple other people, including Deepak Parikh from HDFC. So one chapter is written about Shashikiran Shetty. It is an Australian author. So people should read that as well. So it is a motivation high. He has come from a Mangalore village, and he joined in a company, initial shipping company. Subsequently, he started his business as a small proprietorship, and today it is a business empire. We are present in 160 countries. So this is something which, as a first generation entrepreneur, what he has achieved. These are those days startups. We are 26 or 27 years as on this particular old as on this particular date, but today it has reached 160 countries. We have 300 offices. We are number one LCL. LCL stands for less than container load, consolidated in the world. So anywhere, any part of the cargo which is coming directly or indirectly to you, it's maybe coming through us. There may be hardly any, the moment it is less than container load, I can tell you that it is touched by EQ Worldwide or Allcargo at some point in time. It may be origin, destination, and you may not even know our name, but actually this may be, we may be handling for multiple other consolidators like UPS or DHL or FedEx or any such other company. They are all our customers for doing these things. We are ranked as 18th in the top ocean freight forwarders list globally. So there is a difference between LCL and FCL. So 18th top ocean freight, because this also contains LCL plus FCL. FCL stands for the full container load. So 18 standing globally is a big number. As an Indian entrepreneur standing at this level globally, it is something, a big achievement for us. We are one of the integrated logistics service solution provider. Integrated means anything related with logistics. It may be a surface transport, there is express cargo. It may be a project cargo, means an over-dimensional cargo, or it may be an import or an export. It may be a customs clearance. or it may be a part load, it may be full load, anything and everything, or warehousing connected related with that. Everything is part of the solution provider for us. We operate container freight stations in India. We have about 5 to 6 container freight stations. Number one operator in these places. Bombay, we have 2, and Delhi we have 1. Delhi, it is called ICD. It is a dry port. And Calcutta we have 1, and in Mundra we have 1. In Chennai we have 1. Warehousing solutions, we are one of the largest warehousing solutions for the chemical specialty chemicals. Of course, we do for many other companies like e-commerce companies and auto and many other things, but major specialties in the chemical way, which basically most of the chemicals are hazardous cargo, and it needs specialized storage solutions. We give equipment rentals in the form of cranes and trucks. Trucks are mainly for the purpose of container movements. Mainly it is used for in-house or any other for customers. Project cargo stands for the over-dimensional cargo. And the last one is express cargo. So express cargo is done by Gati Limited. Gati Limited was acquired by us. It is another listed company. It was acquired a couple of years ago by us. And that also gives us, a far reach. Gati Limited operates only in India, whereas all other operations are across the globe. These are our key stakeholders. This must be case with everyone else. So I'm not even talking as a center of excellence. We take care of Allcargo listed company, Gati Limited listed company. GKPL is a major subsidiary of material subsidiary of Gati Limited. And definitely all other people definitely must be having this thing, similar thing with other people. So this is the center of excellence which cater to all these stakeholders. The key activities what we do, because I'm not getting into the framework of audit and everything because it has been talked about by multiple other people. The key activities what we do. Internal audit is our bread and butter. Risk management is another bread and butter. So these are the 2 activities for which I was recruited in 2010. When I took over from GG, the audit function in the company, the 2 activities which I was supposed to take care of was internal audit and risk management. Over a period of time, multiple things have been added. There was a need for the company to look after by these things, and I had the curiosity and the experience of dealing with this sort of things. So whenever these opportunities came, I grabbed these things. Sometimes certain things were imposed on me, but I never hesitated to take that responsibility. So internal financial control was something where when the Sarbanes-Oxley, when I was working with my Big Four experience earlier, so I was basically recruited by the company only for Sarbanes-Oxley. And so that is equivalent to that our internal financial control. So immediately the moment it was passed in Indian Companies Act, I grabbed that opportunity. Mergers and acquisitions. So as a company, we have grown organically and inorganically. So at least, since I joined 2010, at least in a year, we acquire 1 company on an average. So 10 to 11 acquisitions we might have done, small in India, outside India, everywhere. So, and even to have 1 or 2 acquisition in a year, at least you may do mergers and acquisitions, and the due diligence what you do is more than 1 many times. Because every diligence may not result in a mergers and acquisitions, because sometimes we may have to, stop that because of multiple reasons if synergies are not working in that area. So we have extensive experience on the risk management, internal audit, and financial due diligence is done by me and my team. Continuous control monitoring is another activity, the data analytics and continuous control monitoring. So data analytics is done by the same team, mainly for the audit function it is being done. So continuous control monitoring is done for our activities which are as part of the partnering with the business. So in the past, what was happening, this I'm talking about slightly after 2010 when we established the department, we have been doing the audits, and we have been, generally we do the audit only once in a year. We don't have any smaller frequencies than that, less than that. So we have been doing the audit and we find that, okay, there is revenue leakage. And by that time, the leakage has already happened. So after 1 year, we are going and telling them there is a revenue leak. Okay, processes are, wherever process changes are required, it is always done. At the same time, we felt that it is our duty to handhold them as and when it happens. So that is where this continuous control monitoring started in. So we implemented in certain areas where we start working with the business, and we told them very clearly, so we are doing this work for you. And this is not an audit activity. So we are assisting you, we are partnering with you. Finally, the organization is benefited. So if there is a likely revenue leakage or the likely handling issue, it may be a safety issue or it may be any similar issues, we alert them as and when it is required. So every day, 7 o'clock, a report goes from my, we generate a report, my team send these reports, this combined into a safety aspect as well as on the revenue aspect in one of the particular product what we do it. So every day it goes. So that is where we assess the business for that. Okay, the same team does. Techno evaluation of document. This is a lead activity. We do it as part of the risk management activity. So when we do this lead activity, if any key contracts what comes to our the company has to enter into, which is not standard contract. Standard contract is already evaluated and handed over to the respective department for implementation. At the same time, whenever there is a customized contract come, this happens mainly in the 3PL logistics, that is a warehousing solutions. Then this also happened in the project, which is over dimensional cargo, whatever we handle these things. So these are all huge risk which comes to the company. So as a lead risk managing activity, before it happens, we look at the contract, we discuss the customers, we internally discuss and what is appropriate, what is not appropriate, what risk mitigation measures are required. So this is another activity what we do it. Pre-audit, so certain vouchers, this was also talked by somebody else during as chief auditor series. So certain amounts and above. So this is mainly an outsource activity. We don't do it ourselves, but finally the responsibility is with me. Appointment of the auditors are done by us. The discussions of this outcome, the audit report relating to this area is also done by us along with the outsource audit firm. Pre-audit of sales contract. So this is again, we started mainly in one of our product vertical where we felt that there is a significant revenue leakage and because of the contract mapping issues. So again, this is a partnering activity. This is again an outsource activity, but under our full control and responsibility. This is an activity where we ensure that there is no revenue leakage. There is only one single objective. So the invoices are generated first time correctly. That is the whole objective of this one. So customers also are happy about it. And we also ensure that there is no revenue leakage related to that. Special project, this is always given by the top management, the CEO or the chairman or the joint managing director or vice chairman. Any particular projects can come on to us. Insurance is another activity. What we do is, again, all these things have been added later at the date. So this is a risk transfer mechanism which comes as part of the insurance. So there are specialist people under me, but finally I am responsible for this. And I am not an insurance expert, but over a period of time, I acquired that experience. Vigilance is something which, again, it is under me. There is a department which is doing this. This is mainly done for a particular product only, not for the entire group. Loss prevention, CCTV security, it is again as part of the vigilance activity we do it. Again, my responsibility here is leadership function. So this is again done for a particular, the vigilance and loss prevention are part of the same setup, but the responsibility, leadership responsibilities with me. Delegation of authority is something which, finally it was all initially designed by us. Currently, it is 1 or 2 verticals we have given to the respective CFO, but otherwise, it is again done by me. And so initial setup of the entire delegation of authority was done by me and my team, and currently. So these are some of the activities what we do. The internal governance and automation, what we have achieved so far. We have mechanized software for the audit administration. This will take care of one of the basic objective of this one is that apart from the succession plan, or even when I am not available, because I will also retire at some point in time, the second line, third line, whosoever want to do it. And also there is a significant level of turnover today in the audit staff. So anybody who would like to come into the system, they can always go through this particular activity, which will cover all our audit program. All these audit programs are updated from time to time. It is not done on, one after audit and the second audit. We don't wait for the audit program updation for the second audit or third audit to happen. So any information which we get, okay, this is something which is to be added, which basically happens after a business review, where I am a permanent invitee in most of the business review meetings. So during these things, I felt that, okay, I feel that, okay, this is something probably which we have to add on this one. Similarly, who has done the audit, who supervised this particular audit, how much time it was spent on this particular audit, all these things are updated. So on any day from the new responsibilities of the CARO or from in an SFIO, when he walks into our office, they want to understand what is the efficiency of the internal audit department. So once you open this software for the, and this is available permanently in our system. So who did this audit? How the opinions were being concluded? Is there any area where there has been any negligence or anything, can always be seen on this particular after opening this record. So this is a, from company's compliance point of view, this gives a lot of comfort to the audit committee, that is on any day, any SFIO, you can come after 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, and other things. So all these things are available in the system. Internal financial control is again managed through a software. Risk management software, we have audit analytics. We use IDEA as audit software for this particular activity. Now the remaining activities are manual. Manual means it is mainly Excel sheets and personal computers. Insurance is always done on manual. Vigilance, loss prevention, CCTV, this completely is done by the GKPL is one of the subsidiary, so it is just captured wrongly there. So it is mainly done for the GKPL as an activity. And techno evaluation of document, it is a manual activity because these are all unique cases. Each has it is an application of brain. It cannot be standardized. It depends upon each customer case. Mergers and acquisitions, again, it depends upon the type of product, type of the country where we are going, and type of strategy what we have got in this area. So this is again a manual activity. Pre-audit is again a manual activity, mainly Excel sheets and everything. Pre-audit of sales conduct is a manual activity. So by and large, we are a fairly automated audit department. Whatever cannot be done, it is all in the Excel sheets. And however, there is a proper mechanism within the company to ensure that all these things are available systematically ordered. Risk management as a journey, basically we commenced in 2011-12 this activity. So 2010, I did not do this activity, though I joined this company 11-12, because I also needed time to familiar with the people, familiar with the process system, and also set up the particular department. So we commenced this activity only in 11-12. The methodology mainly we follow is based on the risk workshop we conduct. Extensively, we conduct the risk workshop. It is a full day activity what we conduct. We elicit the risk statements from the the participants of the risk state, this one. And periodically we review these things, and also using based on the lead indicators, like for example, based on the activity like commercial evaluation of the documents, or many other activities, or credit evaluation when it happens. Any lead indicators, if anything is required, that also is captured as part of the risk register. The technology platform, which I have already talked about, we use a software for this particular activity. Basically, it will capture all the risk statements, it generate the risk heat map. So the same thing is presented directly to the audit committee, risk committee. So they are also happy that, okay, these things are already captured in the system, and they are, it is coming directly to them from the software itself, directly it is captured. Recognitions, CNBC TV 18, ICICI Lombard, it is an all India. And then twice we have been recognized, and twice in a row we have been recognized as the best risk management company in the area of supply chain logistics. So this is a big achievement because this is an all India activity which happens, and subsequent years they did not even declare the award for the supply chain activity. I don't know what is the reason for that. So we are looking forward, but every year we participate and continue to participate in these things, and it was not given to anyone else. So that was most surprising. RM Next, I am one of because this is an informal association of risk management professionals. I would definitely urge the viewers, those who are going to see this after these sessions, both Satish and Deepji are aware of this. But for the viewer, those who are not aware of what is risk management, RM Next, this is an informal association of risk management professionals. And throughout India, we have representatives, but mainly the most participants are from Bombay. So even if you are any part of India, or you can be part of these particular sessions. And definitely we have got most of the large corporates are part of these particular sessions. Risk transfer is basically the insurance mechanism. So wherever risk has to be transferred, so insurance is part of the department. So this is the synergy between the audit, risk management, and the insurance department. So it is also coming under me at the leadership level. Risk intelligence is a mechanism where when I participate in the business review meetings or other lead mechanism like credit review is not done by me, but it is done by the credit evaluation done by the CFO office, but we do get inputs relating to that. Similar to that, any other areas where any business review or any opinions are sought from the audit or the risk management department. So we capture that as part of the risk intelligence, what is happening where, and wherever any changes are required, we capture these things. Okay, some of the specific experience. This is probably my last slide, which I hope we have time to complete this. Partnering the business with the business is the most important thing, which we believe that is what we can add value to the business. So this is our fundamental principles on which we operate. Establish a new audit shop. So as an in-house team, I not only in this Allcargo, even the other company also, I have experience of establishing a new audit shop. It comes with a lot of advantages, but definitely some disadvantages as well. But I have that experience relating to that. Peer groups. This is what I would definitely would like to be discussing. You know, people like Satish, people like Deepji. There are many other people. Like I don't want to name every one of them. If you talk to any good people in the system, if you are along with them, you know, it may be Swaminathan of Godrej, it may be Nagesh Pinge, or it may be any other names, whatever, or Harish Dua, or anyone else for that person. If you are in such a group of such great auditors, chief audit executives, they all pull you along with you, and they may also learn a lot of things from you, and you will also learn a lot of things from you. So this is something. So all budding internal auditors, I will request that you should always be in good company of the great auditors. All of them are more than happy to share their experiences with you. All the chief audit executives with you whom you conducted this series, all of them are in that category, so, and also the book which I referred, there are many people, those who are referred there, they are also coming from the similar group, all of them are great people, great experiences, more than happy to share these ones. I will request everyone to be part of them, mingle with them, learn from them, take it forward, because we all may go out after some time. Cyber incidents. So we had cyber incidents the last year, this 2021 in February. So this is something which a new experience for me as a cyber insurance, which was introduced by me in our company. This was all public listed company. So this was all informed to the stock exchange. So globally, our systems were affected. So this is something, a new experience itself, handling a cyber incident as and when it happens. So we had, as a lead indicator, we had already risk transfer mechanism. It worked very well. So that is another experience which I have. Knowledge update is something which, I definitely, this is not only for me, this is for my team, entire team. We have a mechanism where everyone in my team has to read an English financial newspaper. Every day they should do it, update it in this one. And similarly, the CIA videos, any other videos like, even the chief audit series, and all these things are shared with them, and it is their responsibility. And every month they have to give an Excel sheet, what they did and what they did not. And honestly, if you don't mandate them, they have to mandatorily do this and that. But mandatory English news, financial newspaper is mandatory for them. And for me as a person, because all these things have come up from my peer group experience from Deloitte. So between the age of 40 and 50, the additional qualification other than CA, I got it only from during that time, CISA, CIA, and CPA, between the age of 40 and 50. And I will urge every chief audit executive, all these things add a lot of value. And I will urge everyone for this. ICAI study circle we have in-house. Again, I was a convener. Currently, I'm not the convener, and I have ensured that we have more than 25 chartered accountants. We have internal discussions. These things do happen. All these things all update your knowledge. Definitely you should. There are many corporates who have got more than 25 chartered accountants, or even you can take the neighborhood as well. In our neighborhood, in our company, more than 25 chartered accountants are there. Otherwise, you can one or two more companies nearby, and then definitely you can do this. Definitely a lot of discussions and dissemination of knowledge can happen. As a whistleblower officer, I report to the audit committee whenever anything happens. And pre-audit meetings. So pre-audit meetings, basically I wanted to tell the structure for the benefit of the audience. Basically, what we do is, this is an area when the auditee and the audit committee are brought on the same platform. And it is the auditee who explains the audit object or audit observations. Though audit report is prepared by us, the auditee present to the audit committee. So this is a detailed activity what they do it. So audit committee's concerns also can be heard directly by them. It is not the auditory presenting, and then it is more of an accusation on the auditee. So we don't present that way. So we ensure that they present. Same in the risk committee meetings also, we bring the process owner, the respective CEO comes and present the risk registers. So that ensure that there is a direct interactions, and we are definitely there as a facilitator and to help these things. So this is something which we do it, and that is very helpful. And these are all partnering of the business, so they also feel comfortable. Both audit committee as well as the CEO, they feel comfortable on this one. Fraud investigation, definitely there were 1 or 2 instances of the fraud investigations, and whenever these sort of things do happen, definitely these things also enhances the knowledge of me when I am doing this one, and also the team as well on this one. So these are the unique cases when these two things happen. And the last point which I want to tell you, that supply chain as an activity is not considered as a very glorious activity by many chief audit executives. I was not an exception at all. So let me tell you that. So when I was working with the Big Four company earlier, where I was having all that glorious the position of traveling internationally, going to US multiple times and coming like back, multiple times in this one. So I was called for an interview by a supply chain company. And I should tell you very honestly, that is, I came to Bombay for that interview because anyway, my family was in Bombay. So they were paying my flight ticket. And I had no inclination to join that company. Okay. But after the interview, I felt that, yes, there is something. This I'm not talking about Allcargo. This is another company. Okay. And after the interview, I felt that because that company was headed by a Harvard school educated person. He's the managing director of the company and he's the owner of the company. So I then realized that probably there is something wrong in me. I have underestimated what is the supply chain, these things. And then after interacting with them, I joined the company, I worked with him, and then subsequently I left the company. Now today, currently, I am working with another supply chain, global supply chain company. And I should tell you that today there is a lot of focus on the supply chain after this corona pandemic and many other things. Everybody talking about supply chain. I can tell you that what supply chain can contribute to your company. If any one of you have got more than 100 crores expenditure on the supply chain activity, you should definitely have a proper get the things done. And I can tell you minimum 10% can be the guaranteed savings. And I should also tell you that one of the auditor, again, one of the peer group auditor, I should say, all of them are great experts. So he was an outsourced auditor. He did one of the large corporation in India. And they saved around 3 crores, okay, on the supply chain cost. They were very happy, and management also appreciated their work and everything. And subsequently, so the same auditor is telling me, they engaged another consultant, felt that, there is much more scope in the supply chain to be done. And that consultant specialist who came and he did the exercise and they further saved 30 crores. Oh. So you can imagine that, what is the supply chain cost can reduce, So this was told by that auditor, not by me. So I would definitely urge, because this is not an area which can be done by a normal auditor. So definitely it is an area, and we are all there to help you. That is what something, which I would like to. With this, thank you very much. Appreciate your time, and definitely I look forward for any other questions, whichever you would like to know. And with that, then we can go ahead. Thank you. So RPA, the last one, sorry. The RPA is one which we are about to implement in some of the areas. Again, so in the modern areas, whatever these things are going to happen, we never hesitate to implement these things. So we are the initial stage of implementation of RPA. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, there is one. This has come from one of our internal customer. So after auditing, what they felt, they have written these things.
Wow. Super.
We don't ask for this, but it has come from themselves.
Wonderful.
So thank you very much. With this, I will stop sharing the screen, and we can continue with question and answers.
Yes, Mukundan, I think what a beautiful presentation. So simple, but so much in depth, And I remember once when I had come to you, because I think I don't know which company I was working, but I had some logistics issue, and I remember coming to you and you said exactly the same thing as you're saying now. It just goes to say that if you're speaking the truth, if you're speaking from heart, you don't have to remember anything. It just comes out. And I, felt as if I was sitting in, in your visitor chair and listening to you 10 years ago. So absolutely good. I have one thing to ask you. You must be a great time manager. No, I don't think you must be. You are a great time manager. I am a great follower of Edward de Bono's 6 thinking hats, and he says that you wear a green hat, blue hat, red hat, depending on the situation, and that's how you make teams. Now you are handling so many things: internal audit, risk management, IFC, M&A, data analytics, CCM, techno evaluation of documents, pre-audit, pre-audit of vouchers, pre-audit of sales contracts, special projects, insurance. I can't even say it in one breath. How do you manage time?
So it is all the team management. What is each of these activity, there is a team, and they all have initially been trained very well. And what things have to be escalated to me is well known to them, each one of them. So in general, when after an acquisition of a new company, I focus more time in that particular activity. Otherwise, it is more of an autopilot mode. So for example, if you take, there is an insurance team which takes care of the insurance. There is a vigilance team take care of the vigilance activity. The loss prevention teams take care of these things. So most of my time is devoted wherever a new acquisition has come, because it takes time for us to culturally, pull us inside that company, as well as they pull them inside to our group. So similarly, we do not know the risk relating to that particular area. So we invest, and we also need to understand their business, their culture, their software, their practices, and everything. So in general, the other areas for IFC, we have a dedicated person. He takes care of it. Wherever he want to come to me, he will come to me. And wherever he needs an escalation or support where things are not moving, then they generally involve me. So in that case, I pick up the phone and talk to them. So in general, but I should definitely tell you that sometime I definitely feel that we need to have a much more planning as far as succession is concerned. We need to have some more senior people in the team so that they all can take care of some of these things, and we will be only more acting as a mentor. But at this point in time, definitely I do a lot of primary activities, but many areas are there for the mentorship. I do it with the team.
Absolutely. So
good question. Thank you.
The learning for us is that once you have a process in place, and you then only need to look at the outliers. That probably is the learning that I very beautifully got. Yes, Dipji.
Mukundanji, you talked about a pre-audit meeting, which is not normal parlance. You talk about pre-audit. It is more of business partnering, where you talked about auditees coming forward to make presentations to the audit committee members or to the top management, and talking about the issues, how to improve the issues, and what was reported, and so on. So can you just throw light that does it happen for every audit, or does it happen on a quarterly basis? Does it happen on a monthly basis? How do you select the process owners to come forward and make the presentation on the audit issues? And how do you toggle between, if you have different process owners, how would they fit into a one-day schedule? And how does it work? So that this is a great learning. This is something different which is not being done by most organizations. So can you just throw light on that, please?
Very good question, Deepji, and I'm more than happy to share these things. So here what happens is that this happens only quarterly. This doesn't happen on audit or audit basis, because finally there has to be an availability of audit committee chairman. Generally, at least audit committee chairman comes, others may not come. Sometimes other committee members also comes. So what happens is that we may have about, say, 4 reports or 5 reports to be presented to a particular audit committee. There are multiple audit committees. So what we do is that at least a few days prior to the audit committee dates, so the company secretary is a person who takes care of the holding with the directors and listening. It is done by the company secretary. We tell them that we need to have a pre-audit committee to happen. And we also tell these are the audit reports which will come, and please ensure that their respective CEOs are available for this particular presentations. So if it is a support function, for example, HR means it will be a HR head. If it is a finance mean, it will be a finance head, which we call it as corporate finance. So the respective people are invited. So it based on the audit report, whichever audit reports are there. So they are also informed prior to that. So when an audit report is issued by mark to all the people. So auditors are involved. The corporate executive management, whoever is required, like chairman and other people are also chairman office and joint managing director, vice chairman, all of them are involved in that. All the statutory auditors are part of the circulation, the same circulation. Audit committee members are also part of the same circulation. So this generally happens as and when the audit happens, audit report is finalized. after the exit meeting, we issue the audit report, and then these are always available with them. Then sometimes it may be very closer to the pre-audit date, but definitely the audit is fresh with that. And we also tell them that there will be a pre-audit committee and you have to come and present. So whenever a new CEO comes, we talk about that. Otherwise, they are already familiar at this particular moment in time in this area. So that helps us in a manner that we don't have to mediate. Otherwise, always they may always feel that this is an auditor requirement. So when an audit committee is directly interacting with the CEO or the head of the function, what happens is they also get a comfort, and head of the function and CEO also are able to talk to them. What are the practical difficulties of this one? Many times the audit functions, we perceive these are the risk at the highest level. Okay. And sometimes similarly, some of the small compliances, what is required, there may be some practical challenges which may have to be. So audit committee is able to impress upon the CEO. You have to do this compliance. When an auditor is not able to convince, the audit committee chair will say, irrespective of the difficulties what you face, as an audit committee chairman, I am giving you a direction that you have to do this, then they also are fully convinced on this. So a direct interactions happens that helps, both sides. And you see, finally, we want the governance to be enhanced. So finally, our outcome of this one is that the enhanced governance in the company. So that is a comfort what we get in this process. Very good question.
Very true. I think that is, and this really helps. So that means there's a lot of commitment from the audit committee chair to spend time with the auditees.
Absolutely.
And actually, then again meet for the audit committee. So, there's a lot of commitment by the audit committee members.
Absolutely. And in the pre-audit, we discuss only the audit reports. Otherwise, audit committee has multiple other responsibilities, and that also cuts short. Then we will present only a few slides in the audit committee, because there the audit committee chairman himself is, okay, I have already seen this thing. We had a discussion. We met the audit committee auditee, and these are the discussions. So he briefs. So that also reduces the time spent in the audit committee for deliberation of the audit reports.
Absolutely.
Coming to another very important aspect, and I thought that this is unique to you, Mukundan, was of your role in that you played. May not be as an auditor, but the role that, company found that you are, worthy of doing, and that's an achievement by itself, is on the M&A sphere, and I guess not many people, I didn't get an opportunity to do any M&A or get involved in an M&A in my own career. So I'm asking you this question, that from an internal audit perspective, what has been the learnings for you in these such M&A exercises?
So thank you again, Satish. It's a great question. So I should definitely tell you that when after I set up this department, and then I had the first acquisition happened, I think it was a major acquisition happened in 2013 in USA. And you see, I have already, prior to this, I have worked in USA, so I know the culture there. I have already traveled multiple times to USA even prior to this company. So that helped me and then finally, when you do this particular activity, this is more done as a risk manager, not more done as an internal auditor. So in a due diligence, when we look at these things, what are the red flags, what are likely to be, what are the preparations, what you need to come, what are the business synergies, what you are expected to come. So there is a business team, there is a due diligence team, which is part of me. I am the person who is leading that due diligence team. So you need to understand the business, so you have to work with business. So whatever acquisitions we have done, it is in the same area where we have the existing business, it is an extension of the existing business, so it was not many times, it was even when we acquired the Gati Limited, I already know that the previous company which I have worked, the express cargo business, which I already know. So I have that experience in that particular area. So there are multiple challenges you come across. Again, each of the acquisition will be a unique experience. There will never be two acquisitions which are in the same nature. The last acquisition we had, again, all these things came in the public domain. So the last acquisition, we had multiple challenges of, after acquisition of the company, we had litigations. Okay. Now, even when the litigations happen, as an auditor, you know the business, you have seen the document, and definitely coming from the legal, you may not be a lawyer, but after multiple acts and interpretations, we have already done our life. You have that legal flair. So you have seen the documents. So when you meet the lawyer, you are able, these are the, fought in the High Court and Supreme Court. So you are meeting them and you are giving, these are the inputs from my end. So it definitely gives a lot of insights, and definitely each of the, so these things don't happen in every mergers and acquisitions. Most of the mergers and acquisitions are very smooth, but when these things do happen, each and every document what you have looked into prior to the acquisition is becoming very important. And when you are meeting these stalwarts, those who are advocates in high courts and Supreme Courts, you are also learning a lot of things. So it is not that it is always an exchange of knowledge and then their viewpoint, and then it is the same way you are meeting your peer groups. Every day you learn something new. So that is always a great experience, and every acquisition is a new experience.
Since Mukundanji, you operate in 160 countries, and you are an Indian multinational with different business models. The main business would be the same, but there would be different business models. You have different verticals also. And each country there would be different subsidiaries, maybe different legal entities and so on. How do you, from India, keep a risk watch over different geographies, different countries, different businesses? There are different cultures which are there. So how does the organization have a risk management where they can keep risk watch over these 160 countries or their entities, and how does the red flags flow into the company, and how are they getting investigated at a local level or at a corporate level, and how do you handle all that? Because logistics is more or less like a bank or an insurance company again. It's a cash driven trade, bank driven trade. So how does it work? How do you keep watch over this risk management or red flags across the world?
Thank you again, Deepji. You are asking very relevant questions, and I'm more and more excited to answer these questions. So first and foremost, I would like to say that our chairman, who has the vision of, you have already met him multiple times. He's a person who can understand anything and everything. So first time when I met him in 2010. So prior to that also, when I was working with multiple companies, we talk about control aspects and financial controls and everything. So when I used to previously meet, other than my current boss, when I meet them, when I talk to them, they all smile at me, they listen to me, we have cup of tea, coffee and everything. But I know that, many things what we wanted may not be done or in spirit. So when I met the chairman of our company, Mr. Shashikiran Shetty, so I did not tell him before that, he started talking about financial control is the most important thing in my company. So he is telling me, okay. So I thought that, whatever I wanted to talk, he is talking about, So financial discipline and the control, what he has brought much before I joined this company. I only started maintaining these things and looking at these things, So I give that credit to him. Okay. And if anything and everything happens, he understands far ahead, more than earlier than anyone else. So the real risk management is done by he and his team. And when the chairman is there, automatically the other CEOs they have to be on the top of the situation. Automatically they do it. So as a risk manager, they all take care of these things, far better. So my job makes much more easier than anybody any other situations in this particular case. So wherever you need anything at the entity level, for example, the cyber insurance. Okay. When we felt about 4 or 5 years ago, when I took over the insurance, so insurance came to me about 4 to 5 years ago only. So we felt that, yes, there is a gap when currently we don't have any cyber insurance relating to, again, we had a mechanism. We had one country where we had some cyber issue, minor cyber issue. Yeah, it was, like the illegal, the phishing attack. Now phishing means it was more like cyber payments related activity. We lost some money and we got recovered also. We could that money. At that time we had no cyber insurance. The moment it was a very small amount of $20,000 we lost in that particular process. And when it was lost, immediately I realized the need for cyber insurance, and we went for a cyber insurance and GDPR and other things, because as a multinational company we need to have these things in place. So I immediately took the step that, okay, we need to go for it. Then we need to convince everyone in the line, we need to, and because the money spending means it's not that easy. Okay. So you convince everyone. So that is the activity which I have to do, but remaining regular business risk relating these activities are definitely taken care by business. We create awareness for them. We ensure that education is given to them, and they automatically come and tell me that, there is a problem like this, what can you help me on this area. So as such, right from the top to bottom, when the top man is on the top of the situations, so automatically the bottom of the line will automatically be fall in line. So I should definitely thank the chairman, and as well as down the line people, those who are, on the top of the situations, and ensure they support me in all these activities, and they also pass on this information to me wherever it's required. Okay, now you take care from here. So that definitely helps.
I think you are absolutely right, Mukundanji, because that's why you have such a great Indian multinational around the world. Because the first time I met the chairman, your chairman, Shashi Kiran Shetty, the first thing, as you said, over a cup of tea was, that he was telling me what he expects, the financial control and, the process controls and the quality checks and so on. So, it is driven directly from the top. Thank you very much, Mukundanji, for this reply. This will really benefit the internal community, whatever we are discussing. Satish,
Yes.
for your conclusion, please.
Mukundan, I think this was just a terrific, summarization of what you do, and I'm very happy that you were able to do it in 20-25 minutes. You had so much to say, but you spoke so eloquently, I must say. What's in a name, they normally say, so rose by any other name smells as sweet. But care, the name of your department and the care for business, I think it oozed out in the entire presentation. You took us down the journey of leading or chief audit executives, a book which was written by Manish and Dipji, and covered so many people, including yours very truly. But, it was it sent me down memory lane. And I must say, I don't know why Dipji, that book is out of circulation, but we must get some reprints in that. And as Mukundan very rightly said, probably, come out with the next series as well. 160 countries, 300 offices, the first number in the consolidator, integrated solution provider, the CFS, the ICDs, the warehouse management solutions, the equipment rentals, the ODCs, that is projects, and the express cargo. What a wide range of responsibilities, both geographically, both business verticals wise, each having their own uniqueness. And you're doing it with a smile. The way you spelt out your key stakeholders, they always say that what gets measured gets controlled, and you went into the depth of identifying each key stakeholders. We, of course, all of us do that, but you've done it so well. Your key activities, and I brought it out in the question as well, internal audit, risk management, IFC, M&A, data analytics, controls, CCM. And when you were talking about CCM, I remembered about NDTV. They say that we report things as it happens, And I like the inference that you said, that you, rather than going after a year, you talk about it as it happens. Your unique way of doing the techno-commercial techno evaluation of documents is something, I think, which is something that we all can leave pondering whether we can do it in our organizations as well, because all of us have these kind of documents which are very important. Dipji asked you a question on the pre-audit, which is something very unique. So when you talked about, of course, first you talked about the pre-audit of vouchers and things like that. But then when you later on brought the different dimension about the pre-audit, I think this is something which is very, 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 very unique, very brilliantly done. Your special projects, your involvement in special projects, insurance being added to your job, the LPA, the loss prevention activities also, which is coming, the vigilance, which I would say is fraud risk management, or investigation, or the whistleblower, where anyway you are the whistleblower for the company, for the group as well. The aspect of insurance and the concept of risk transfer is something which I think you have very uniquely brought out. You also spelled out your journey from a risk management perspective, that how you started it in 2011-12, how you brought in technology, how you got recognition, how you are informally doing it through the RM Next, how you're having a risk transfer, the synergy which you say is with the insurance, that how you're bringing this risk transfer. How are you bringing risk intelligence in your work aspect, has made this risk management journey complete, and it's a complete package. Your business partnering, which you said, you've established new audit shops, which is very difficult. It looks easy when it is done, but I'm sure the process is difficult, but very enjoyable. And you brought out this enjoyment very nicely in your presentation. Your pitch that you made on peer group, and I'm one of the beneficiaries of this peer group, and therefore you'll always see me getting involved, and I'm Dipji as well. And this part of this whole chief auditor series, one of the the mindsets, or one of the objectives of this is just to make sure that we as a group contribute. You also very nicely talked about your cyber incidents, your knowledge update, how you yourself keep yourself updated and keep the team members updated in your activities. Your ICA study circle, which you have started in your organizations, I think getting 25 CAs, I think even if you sit in a train from Bombay to Bangalore, forget a bullet, you will get at least 25 CAs. And the time journey is enough to discuss all aspects of business. I'm not bringing it, I'm not lowering the level of the ICA study circle. All that I'm saying is it's not too difficult. You just need to look left and right, and you will get like-minded. You'll get 25 CAs anyway, but I'm sure you will get 20 of them who are very serious and want to contribute two ways. So you talked about the pre-audit meetings, which I Dipji asked you a couple of questions about, but it was certainly very unique. Your role in the fraud investigation, your pitch that you made for supply chain, I think touched the cornermost part of my heart, because I also had visited one warehouse in Nagpur. He's situated in Wadi. I can call out his name also. His name is Viraj Thakkar, or Viren Thakkar, as I remember. And he had, made this supply chain look such an important activity, which it is. But we always, we think manufacturing is important, procurement is important, finance is important, this is important. Hey, supply chain to hota rahega, that will keep on happening. But the way he had brought it out, and I was just remembering about it. And of course, you brought in technology by using RPA. You so willingly, happily answered all the questions that were thrown out to you. I think three of us would be happy if this session can go on for more than an hour. But there is always something that we, as they say, all good things must come to an end. So this summary was, it just helped me to relive all our associations together. So Dipji, the final word is always yours. So,
no, it's not a final word, just two things to say. One is, as you rightly said, and as Mukundanji rightly said, as a consultant and going out to companies, supply chain is one of the most important aspects of business where a lot of money can be saved, where you can enhance a lot of value for the organization. And number two, the logistic terminology and how charges are being charged to companies or to organizations is very tricky. So to understand that, Mukundanji is in that trade.
yeah.
But if you're on the other side of the table, to understand what is being charged to you by the shipping lines and by the ports and by the ICDs and by the CFS, it's very tricky. So from the destination to your organization, so, and also the lead time and everything. So I think it's an area which requires specialization. It requires understanding where a lot of value can be added. And the second part I would say is that today's session has been really privileged, proud to be talking to Mukundanji, because we are talking to a Indian multinational #1 LCL consolidator around the world in a short time of 15 years. It's a short time of 15 years that we have seen that happen. So thank you very much, Mukundanji. Thanks a lot, Satish.
Thank you. Thank you, Mukundan.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Satish. Thank you, Dipji. It has been a great pleasure. Thank you.